Hi everyone. In the last class we completed isomerism. So only optical isomerism is remaining. Remaining all we completed. So optical isomerism is shown by chiral compounds. So chiral compound means any carbon which has four different substituents A, B, C, D. All substituents on the carbons are different. Since carbon valence is the 4, if all four substituents are different, then that compound is called chiral compound, which is also called stereogenic carbon, which is also called asymmetric carbon. If the carbon possesses four different substituents, it is called chiral, also called stereogenic, also called asymmetric. So this is the condition to show optical isomerism. Optical isomerism is shown by chiral compounds. So what actually optical isomers are? So optical isomers will rotate the plane polarized light. So light should be plane polarized light. That means all rays are present in one single plane. That is called plane polarized light. If that plane polarized light, when we are passing through organic compound, if that light is rotated by the organic compound, then that organic compound is called optically active. So any compound which rotates light, that is called optically active. So that shows optical isomerism. So light can be rotated in the clockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction. So which side it will be rotated? So that can be checked by using two configuration. One is called relative configuration. Another one is called absolute configuration. There are two configurations to represent optical activity. Relative configuration. Relative configuration is denoted with D and L. So, in relative configuration, to identify the molecules D or L, so we use some reference compound. The reference compounds are glyceraldehyde. So this is the glyceraldehyde, D-glyceraldehyde. This is the L-glyceraldehyde. So this is the reference part. So the compound name is D-glyceraldehyde. So this is the L-glyceraldehyde. So any molecule is given, asking which is a D isomer or L isomer. So what we have to do is, so we have to compare these two molecules. The given molecule is compared by using these two molecules. If the given molecule is similar to this one, then the molecule is called D isomer. If that is similar to this one, then that is called L isomer. For example, we are writing the structure of glucose. So glucose structure should be like this, open structure. So this is the open structure of glucose. Now this glucose is a D glucose or L glucose. How to identify? This should be compared with these two molecules. So this is the reference part. See this? It is similar to which one? D-glyceraldehyde or L-glyceraldehyde. So this one, both are similar. So that means this glucose is called D-glucose. So the given molecule is always compared with D-glyceraldehyde and L-glyceraldehyde. Such comparison is called relative configuration. In relative configuration, whether it is a D or L, it is identified by using reference molecules. The reference molecules are D and L-glyceraldehyde. So D means dextro, which means right side. L means levo, which means left side. So these are the relative configuration. But the problem here is, every molecule does not contain this group. If only this group is present, then only we can identify. If in place of OH groups of Cl groups are there, so we cannot check. So that's why this relative configuration does not applicable to all molecules, only applicable to carbohydrates. So this configuration is related to remaining to carbohydrates only. Any other molecules are given, we cannot observe. So another configuration is absolute configuration. So with the help of absolute configuration, we can identify optical activity of any compound. If any compound is given, we can identify whether it is a right side or left side by using absolute configuration. It is denoted with letters R and S. R means clockwise, remember it. R is clockwise, S is anti-clockwise. Now what is clockwise and anti-clockwise? Suppose a given molecule should be like this. Here OH is given, hydrogen CH3, C2H5. So the central atom will be carbon. This is the central atom will be carbon. This is a chiral carbon. All four are different. It will show optical activity. But it is a R isomer or S isomer. How to identify is, in absolute configuration, the first step is, in the all four substituents, give the atomic number priority. Which is the highest atomic number, that should be more clear. So among this, oxygen is the highest atomic number. It should be the first priority. Second will be the carbon. But this is also carbon, this is also carbon. And atomic numbers are same. Go for the next atom. Its next atom is hydrogen. But its next atom again carbon is there. So carbon is more atomic number. It should be second priority. It should be third priority, and this is the least priority. The first rule, giving atomic number priority on the chiral carbon. All four substituents atomic number priority. After atomic number priority is given, we have to observe the molecule from 1 to 2, 2 to 3. After giving atomic number priority 1 to 2, 2 to 3, we have to observe the molecule. So when we are observing 1 to 2, so this is a 1 to 2, 2 to 3. So this observation angle is clockwise, that is called R. If that observation is anti-clockwise, that is called S. Very simple. First atomic number priority, next observation 1 to 2, 2 to 3. If that is a clockwise R, anti-clockwise S. See this molecule? So this is a clockwise direction. Clockwise means it should be R isomer. So this molecule will rotate the light in right side. That is called R isomer. Very simple. But remember here, whenever molecules are given like this is called wedge and this is called dash. In wedge dash method, whatever the least priority is there, the least priority must be with dash bond. That is important. Least priority must be with dash bond, then only rules are applicable. If suppose least priority does not with dash bond, then what we will do? Whatever answer you are getting, so just reverse the answer. That is answer. Simple. If least priority present in dash bond, no change. If least priority not with dash bond, answer is opposite. Simple. Like that, for example, see this molecule. So this is a molecule. First take atomic number, oxygen is highest. Second will be ethyl, third will be methyl, fourth will be hydrogen. Observation 1 to 2, 2 to 3. So this is a clockwise. So whenever it is a clockwise, answer will be the R. But remember, what is the least priority? Least priority is the hydrogen, but it is not with dash bond. That means this answer will be opposite. That means S. Clockwise means actually R, but since least priority is not with the dash bond, that's why answer will be S. So this is in wedge dash formula. Least priority must be with dash bond. Another technique is, if sometimes molecule given horizontal and vertical bonds. Horizontal and vertical bonds, center will be the carbon. So like this, they will give hydrogen, OH, CH3, C2H5. So when molecules are given in horizontal and vertical bonds, this is called Fischer formula. In Fischer formula, same process. Atomic number priority, oxygen is 1, C2H5 second, CH3 third, hydrogen will be 4. Observation 1 to 2, 2 to 3. First 1 to 2, 2 to 3. We cannot come like this, 1 to 2. So only 1 to 2, 2 to 3. So this should be anti-clockwise. Anti-clockwise means answer will be S. So this is S isomer. But remember one thing, whenever in Fischer formula is given, the least priority must be in vertical bond. Then only rules are applicable. If it is not in vertical bond, then change the answer opposite. So like this, hydrogen is here suppose, and OH is here, remaining as usual C2H5, CH3. Oxygen highest atomic number, second C2H5, third CH3, fourth is hydrogen. Observation 1 to 2, 2 to 3. So this is again anti-clockwise. Anti-clockwise means answer will be the S. But here hydrogen is least priority. It is not present in vertical bond. That's why answer will be opposite. So here answer is R. In this molecule, just these two were exchanged. H and OH. Due to exchange, configuration will be changed. Simple. So that means remember, least priority must be in vertical bond. Then no change. If it is not in vertical bond, answer will be the change, opposite. So this is optical isomerism. With the help of absolute configuration, any molecule is given, we can identify configuration. So some other examples will say. See this molecule. So this is a chiral carbon and this is also chiral carbon. So this molecule contains two chiral carbon, this one and this one. Now even one or more are present. So configuration is as usual, we have to check. So first we will see this carbon. On this carbon, this COH group, OH group, H group and this total group is present. Now we have to identify configuration of this carbon. It is attached to carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. So oxygen should be the highest atomic number. So this should be 1. Second should be, this is also carbon, this is also carbon. But it has two oxygen. So it has only one oxygen and one side is carbon. So oxygen is more atomic number. This should be second priority. Now this total will be third priority, this total. And fourth is the hydrogen. Simply I am explaining. So on this carbon, oxygen is the highest. Second, this is also carbon, this is also carbon. But on this two carbon, it has one side oxygen, one side carbon, other side hydrogen. But it has both are oxygen. That's why oxygen is more atomic number, second priority. And this total will be third priority, this is the hydrogen. So observation angle 1 to 2, 2 to 3. So 1 to 2, 2 to 3 will go like this. So this is a which one? Clockwise, anti-clockwise. So this is a anti-clockwise. So anti-clockwise means actually S. But here least priority not present in vertical mode. Observe it. This is the least priority does not present in vertical mode. So change the configuration. That means this will be the S. Anti-clockwise. Sorry. This is anti-clockwise. Huh? Anti-clockwise means S, but it is the least priority does not in vertical bond, so it should be R configuration. So this carbon is R. Now check the next carbon, same process. Now this carbon I am checking. Again on this carbon, oxygen is the highest atomic number, definitely. So this second is COOH, and this total group is the third, and hydrogen will be the least priority. So observation angle 1 to 2, 2 to 3 like this. This is 1 to 2, 2 to 3. So this is a which one? Again anti-clockwise. So this is also anti-clockwise, this is also anti-clockwise. Anti-clockwise means S, but least priority not present in vertical bond. So it should be also R. So that means the two chiral carbons are rotating the light in clockwise direction. So both are R. So that means this is a R isomer. So like that, any molecule is given, we can calculate. So this is R isomer. Another example I am giving, we can practice as a homework. So try this molecule in the homework. Another molecule I am giving. Sigma OH, H, OH, H, OH, sigma OH. Try this molecule is also. So these two are, practice this. Now take this as a first molecule, take this as a second molecule, take this as a third molecule. Observe this both are R. When you are calculated, answer will come, this is also S, this is also S. Definitely it will come. Try it. And on calculations, one should be R, another will be S. So practice this molecule, both will be S will come, one R and one S will come. Now see this, in this three molecule, the first molecule is only R. Both are R. That means the total molecule is a optically isomer. R will it will rotate clockwise. And this total is S. That means it is also optical isomer. It will rotate left side. So here 1 and 2 are called enantiomers. 1 and 2 are called enantiomers. What are enantiomers? Any molecules which are mirror images to each other. See these two molecules, so both are mirror images or not? OH, OH, HH, these are mirror images. And these mirror images are non-superimposable. So what is meant by non-superimposable? If you are taking this molecule like this and placing above on this molecule, OH will come here. There is no matching. If substances are not matching, that is called non-superimposable. So these two molecules are non-superimposable, also mirror images. Such non-superimposable mirror images are called enantiomers. Simple example, R and S are enantiomers. R and S are non-superimposable mirror images. The best example, our right hand or left hand. So both are mirror images. We are placing right hand on the mirror. So visible is left hand. So both are mirror images. But one by one on placing, the fingers are not matching. So these are called enantiomers. So 1 and 2 are enantiomers. Now 1 plus 2 is racemic mixture. Enantiomers are, remember, optically active. They will show optical isomer enantiomers. Now 1 plus 2. What is 1 plus 2 and 1 and 2 difference? Individually they are enantiomers. But when both are mixing, so this mixture is called racemic mixture. Racemic mixture is optically inactive. Enantiomers are optically active, but racemic mixture is optically inactive. Why it is inactive? Because it is R isomer, it is S isomer. On mixing, both R and S will be cancelled together. So due to the external compensation, external cancellation, it is optically inactive. So racemic mixture does not show optical isomerism. So both will be cancelled together. Similarly, molecule 3 is called meso compound, which is also optically inactive. The third one. This is the third molecule. In third molecule, one carbon is R, another carbon is S. So internally cancelled. So due to that symmetry, what is meant by symmetry? We are cutting the molecule into half. First half and second half both are similar. That means it is a symmetrical molecule. So this is called plane of symmetry. A plane is making the molecule symmetrical. That is plane of symmetry. So due to plane of symmetry, it is optically inactive. So first two carbon, second carbon will cancel each other. So third one is meso. So the single molecule containing two different carbon, that is called meso. If two different compounds are mixing, that is called racemic mixture. Finally, 1 and 3 or 2 and 3 are diastereomers. 1, 3 or 2, 3 are diastereomers. So diastereomers may or may not optically active. So diastereomers can be optically active or may not be optically active. Example 2 and 3. See this? Any mirror image is there in between these three? So this is OH, this is H. No mirror image. So non-mirror image compounds are called diastereomers. So diastereomers definition, these are non-mirror images. That means there is no relationship. So in these two molecules, so this is directly S. This is optical isomer. But this is optically inactive due to cancellation. So one is optically active, one is optically inactive. So that means diastereomers may or may not optically active. So this four definition important. Enantiomers are optically active, non-superimposable mirror images. Racemic mixture optically inactive due to external compensation. Meso compound optically inactive due to plane of symmetry. And diastereomers may or may not optically active. So these are non-mirror image molecules. So this is optical isomerism. So practice this optical isomerism. So the next topic will be some electronic effects are there. electronic effects. Among these, the first one is aromatic nature. So what is aromatic nature? Any molecule is said to be aromatic. It contains four important properties. One must be cyclic, second must be planar. Planar means it contains sp2 carbon. The third must be conjugation. Conjugation is nothing but resonance. And the fourth one must be Huckel rule. Huckel rule means 4n plus 2 into 5 electrons. So any molecules contain these four rules. The molecule is said to be aromatic. It should be cyclic. It should be planar. Planar means sp2 carbon. So sp2 is a trigonal planar shape. Conjugation. Conjugation means resonance. Alternate pi bonds or pi bond and charge alternate. Then they exhibit resonance. Last rule is the 4n plus 2 pi electrons. Here n is an integer. It can be any value. Suppose n is 0. 4 into 0 0. Answer will be 2 pi electrons. If n is 1, it will be 6 pi electrons. N is 2, it will be 10 pi electrons, like that. So any molecule possessing these pi electrons, the molecule is said to be aromatic. Some examples will say. The first simple example, benzene I am taking. Benzene, all we know that is aromatic. But how it is aromatic? It is a cyclic. It is a planar. Why it is planar? Double bond. So double bond means alkene. Alkene hybridization is sp2. So that is a planar molecule. Conjugation. Here all pi bonds are in alternate position. This come here, this come here. So delocalization is there. That will show conjugation. Finally, Huckel rule. There are 3 pi bonds. One bond is equal to 2 electrons. 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 pi bonded electrons. So 6 pi bonded electrons. That means what is the Huckel rule following. So this is a aromatic. Another example. See this molecule, cyclopropanyl cation. So on this molecule, we have to observe it is aromatic or not. It is a cyclic definitely. Double bond is there. It should be planar. And this is a double bond. Adjacent carbon has charge. Not only alternate pi bonds. If pi bond charge is there, pi bond lone pair is there, they will show conjugation. Here also conjugation possible. So what is conjugation? Simplicity. Suppose the bond we are breaking, one side negative, one side positive. Simple. So this positive negative will form double bond. So same molecule again form. Just charge from here to here, pi bond here to here. That is called conjugation. So this will exhibit conjugation. Finally, Huckel rule. It has only one pi bond. One bond means 2 electrons. So 2 electrons are Huckel rule. So this is also aromatic in nature. Like that, see this. This molecule, cyclopentadienylanium. Now, in this molecule, cyclic definitely is there. Planar double bonds are there. Conjugation, pi bond, single bond, pi bond, single bond, charge, single bond, pi bond. So all are in conjugation, alternate pi bonds and charge. Huckel rule. There are only 2 pi bonds. 1, 2, 3, 4 electrons. 4 electrons are not there. But remember, when the charge is negative. Negative charge is nothing but it is similar to lone pair. Remember, whenever negative charge is there, negative charge equal to 2 electrons, not 1 electron. Because negative means extra. Its own electron plus extra electrons. Total 2 electrons are there. Positive charge means its own electron is also lost. So positive means 0. Negative means 2. Remember, negative means not minus 1. Charge is minus 1 because that is extra electron charge. Already present electron is there. So total 2 electrons. Positive means 1 electron lost. So its own electron is also lost. So it should be 0 electron. It should be 2 electron. So negative charge equal to 2 electrons. So this is nothing but lone pair. So this lone pair also we can count as a pi electron. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So total 6 electron means it is also aromatic. So like that, number of examples we can observe. So practice the examples whatever is there. To ask any doubt is there. So this is aromatic molecule. So aromatic molecules are highly stable. Wherever aromatic is possible, that is highly stable. So benzene is the most stable due to aromatic nature. Another important thing, in this Huckel rule, 4n plus 2 pi electrons are there. Instead of this 4n plus 2 pi, if the molecule containing 4n pi electrons, instead of this 4n plus 2 pi, if the molecule contains 4n pi electron, then the molecule is called anti-aromatic. Remaining rules are same. Cyclic, planar, conjugation are common. The fourth object rule, in place of 4n plus 2, 4n pi electrons are present, then the molecule is called anti-aromatic. For example, see this butadiene. Cyclic, planar, conjugation is there, but only 4 electrons. N is equal to suppose 1, so that is the 4 electron. So this is the anti-aromatic. So anti-aromatics are unstable. Stability I am giving. Aromatic is highly stable. After that, non-aromatic, and least is the anti-aromatic. Aromatic is most stable, anti-aromatic is least stable, in between non-aromatic compounds. So this is the aromatic nature. After the aromatic nature, the next one is resonance. So we all know that resonance is the delocalization of pi electrons. Wherever pi electrons are there, so they undergo delocalization, that means changing the position. The process is called resonance. The best example, benzene, I am taking this molecule, benzene. So this is a pi bond. This single bond, pi bond, and alternate positions are there. This pi bond's position can be changed like this. This is also benzene, this is also benzene. So what is the difference in these two? Position of pi bond. When pi bond position is different, remaining atoms are not changing. In resonance, atoms are same. Only pi bond position will be different. So then thus molecules are called resonance structure. So that's why the actual resonance, this is not actual structure, this is not actual structure. So the actual structure should be written like this. This is actual structure. This actual structure is called resonance hybrid. Resonance hybrid is the most stable. These are imaginary structures. So that is the resonance. So in resonance, open molecules also resonance is possible. For example, CH3, CH2O. CH3 molecule is there. Now here oxygen atom has lone pairs. So this lone pair will donate to the positive charge. So formation of CH3, CH double bond O positive CH3. So these two are called resonance structures. So wherever lone pairs and charge, not only pi bond alternate, lone pair charge, pi bond charge, they are present, delocalization is possible. So that is called resonance. So resonance increases stability of a compound. More the number of resonance structures, more the stability of a compound. Now this resonance is classified to mainly two types. One is the positive resonance, one is the negative resonance. It is based on the benzene ring mainly. Plus R is also there, positive resonance effect, minus R is also there. So some groups like NH2, NHR, NR2, OH, OR, halogen. So all these are positive resonance groups. So these will donate electrons to the benzene. That's why these are called positive resonance. Similarly, negative resonance like NO2, CN, COOH, CHO, CO group, COOR. All these are negative resonance groups. So any of these groups present on benzene, they will take electrons from the benzene. Any of these groups present on benzene, they will donate electrons to the benzene. So when electron donating to the benzene, positive resonance, electron taking from benzene, that is called negative resonance. These groups are important. Why? Because when we are saying in organic chemistry, all chapters, wherever haloalkane chapter is there, alcohol chapter, aldehyde chapter, ketone chapter, amine chapter. So all these groups present on benzene. So based on that group, it is a positive resonance or negative resonance we have to identify. These are plus R, these are minus R groups. Most important, practice this. So this is about resonance. Similarly, next one is Another is the hyperconjugation. What is hyperconjugation? Resonance is applicable to pi bond only, delocalization of pi electron. Whereas hyperconjugation involves both sigma and pi bond. Whenever sigma bond is converted to pi bond, that is called hyperconjugation. Simple. Sigma is converted to pi bond, that is called hyperconjugation. See this? It is the delocalization of sigma into adjacent pi bond. That is called hyperconjugation. I am taking CH3 positive. So on this carbon positive, there are 3 alkyl groups are there. So this molecule exhibit hyperconjugation. What is hyperconjugation means? Suppose see this, it has 3 hydrogen. So this carbon is also has 3 hydrogen. This carbon is also has 3 hydrogen. But here charge is now positive. On this adjacent methyl group is there. Suppose if this hydrogen bond we are breaking, hydrogen charge we know that plus, so carbon charge will be minus. So this minus will donate to the electrons to the plus, and donating between this pi bond will form. So on breaking sigma bond, formation of pi bond is there. That means sigma converted to pi bond. So this process is called hyperconjugation. Simply, charge is positive. If this hydrogen sigma bond is converted to pi bond, then the product will become like this: CH2. One hydrogen is gone, CH2, double bond, CH3, CH3. This alkene is formed. So positive charge is lost due to formation of pi bond. So alkene is formed. So it will show hyperconjugation when sigma is converted to pi bond. But remember here, not only this hydrogen, so this hydrogen also can form hyperconjugation. So this hydrogen is also can form hyperconjugation. Here 3 hydrogens. Any hydrogen can show hyperconjugation. So due to this, 3 structures are possible. Same like in this CH3 also 3 hydrogens are there. So these also can show hyperconjugation. These 3 also can show hyperconjugation. So in this molecule, total 9 hyperconjugation structures are possible. So more the hyperconjugated structures, more the stability. So that's why this we know that carbocation, carbon positive is called carbocation. But it is attached to 3 alkyl. It is a tertiary. Tertiary is the most stable due to more number of hyperconjugated. Another example, CH3, CH, CH3. It is also carbocation, but attached to only these 2 alkyl, secondary. This 3 hydrogen, this 3. Total 6 hydrogen. It can form 6 hyperconjugated structure. More than 6 here 9. That means tertiary carbocation is more stable. After that, secondary carbocation. So with the help of this hyperconjugation, you can explain stability of carbocations, carbon free radicals like that. The most important, sigma converted to pi, that is called hyperconjugation. Same like the next one is inductive effect. So inductive effect only applicable to sigma bond. Through sigma bond, when electrons are transferring towards more electronegative atom, the process is called inductive effect. CH3, CH2, CH2, Cl. All are carbon, but here chlorine is there. Chlorine is more electronegative element, so it will pull electrons. So through this sigma bond, electrons are transferring from carbon to chlorine. Now this carbon will become electron deficient. Now it will pull electron from this carbon. It will become electron deficient. It will pull from this. It will become electron deficient, whereas it will become electron rich. So through sigma bonds, electrons are going towards more electronegative atom. So this shifting is a permanent shift. Never electron come back because it is the more electronegative atom. Always pull electron. So the permanent shifting of sigma bonded electrons towards more electronegative atom is called inductive effect. So inductive effect is always decreases with distance. Here chlorine is directed as to carbon. So from this carbon, pulling highly. But when distance is increasing, so pulling capacity will be decreases. So inductive effect is negligible after 3 carbon atom. So with the distance, inductive effect always decreases. So again this inductive effect is also 2 types. One is plus I effect, another is the minus I effect. So plus I effect is shown by alkyl groups. Wherever alkyl groups are present, they will show positive inductive effect. So negative inductive, remaining all groups will show negative inductive effect. NO2 group, even NH2 group, OH group, OR group, any group is there, halogen group, CN groups, anything, all will show minus I effect. So order is also there. So I will send one attachment in that order of inductive effects, resonance rate order is also there. We have to practice that order. So all are minus I effect. In plus I effect, remember only alkyl groups will show plus I effect. Not only alkyl group, if any group has negative charge, O minus or N minus, so this negative charge is also acting as positive because negative means extra electrons, so they will donate electrons, that's why plus I effect. Remaining all are minus I effect. So what is the use of this inductive effect is, with the help of inductive effect, we can explain acidic or basic strength. For example, see this, CH3, CH2, COOH. So this is a propanoic acid. IUPAC we already completed. CH3, CHCl, COOH. Another one is also writing CH2Cl, CH2COOH. All are propanoic acid. See this. 3 carbon, 3 carbon, 3 carbon. All are propanoic acid. Here it is the 2-chloropropanoic. This is the 3-chloropropanoic acid. Now see this. Among this carboxylic acid, which is most acidic, which is less acidic, so they will ask. That is important. Now here, among these three, this will be the most acidic. Why? Because on the second carbon it is attached to chlorine. As I said, chlorine is electron withdrawing group. It will pull electron. So due to this, we become electron deficient. Now it will pull from this carbon. This will become deficient. It will pull from this oxygen. It will become deficient. So it will pull from this hydrogen. So breaking of OH is easy. When OH is easily breaking, H plus ions easily they can donate. It should be strong acid. Now here chlorine is on the third carbon. Here it is very near, but here it is the distance. So inductive effect decreases with distance. When distance is increasing, the pulling capacity will be decreases. This is the second highest after return. Here there is no withdrawing group, so no pulling. So this is the weak acidic. Strong acidic. After that, this one, this is the weak acidic. So electron withdrawing groups are there. Acidic character increases. Like that, electron donating groups are there. Acidic character will be decreases. This is important. So acidic and basic strength we can identify with the help of inductive effect. So the last one is electromeric effect. So electromeric effect is a temporary effect, remaining all are permanent effects. But it is a temporary effect. So it is a temporary displacement of pi bond in presence of attacking reagent. CH2 double bond CH2. Pi bond is there. When H plus is adding, so whenever H plus is adding on this pi bond will be displaced. So initially we can break. Suppose it is breaking here, one should be negative, one should be positive. So negative will take positive. CH2 plus CH3. So when H plus is coming on the pi bond is breaking. The process is called electromeric effect. Another example, CH2 double bond CH2 plus Cn minus is coming. The bond is breaking like this, minus and plus. So this minus will be added on the positive. The product will be CH2Cn, CH2 minus. So both are electromeric effect. So pi bond is breaking due to H plus, pi bond is breaking due to Cn minus. Now see this, when positive ions we are adding, that is called positive electromeric effect. When negative ions we are adding, negative electromeric effect. Or simply, when the electron gained carbon is attacking to the reagent is added to the carbon which gains electron, that is called positive electromeric effect. Reagent is added to the carbon which loses electron, that is called negative electromeric effect. So these are electronic effect, aromatic, resonance, hyperconjugation, inductive, and whatever the electromeric effect. And whenever stability are asking, so we have to follow this order. Highest stability is shown by aromatic. After that, resonance. After that, hyperconjugation, and the least is the hyperconjugation, electromeric, and least is the inductive. So this is the order of any molecules are given and asking this stability. First we have to observe aromatic is there or not. If it is there, that should be highly stable. If aromatic is not there, next check for resonance. Resonance is there, highly stable. After hyperconjugation, electromeric, and inductive. So this is the order of stability to check. Any molecules we have to check stability, so we have to follow this order. So this is about electronic effects. So also some reactive intermediates are there. Just one example I am giving, reactive intermediates. So reactive intermediates can be carbocations, carbanions, carbon free radicals, also carbenes, and also we can take nitriles also, benzenes also there. So all these are reactive intermediate. So nitrines, benzenes, very rare condition, mostly about this four they will ask. All these are reactive intermediates. So what is reactive intermediates means? So during the number of organic reactions, and reactants are converted to product. In between, some intermediates will be formed, and those intermediates are highly reactive. They further converted to product. So what are the possible intermediates? Carbocation, carbanion, carbon free radical, carbenes, nitrines, benzenes. All these are reactive intermediates. One by one we will say. Reactive intermediates can be first one, carbocations. So carbocation means carbon positive. CH3 plus, CH3, CH2 plus, CH3, CH, CH3 plus, CH3, CH3, CH3 plus. So all are carbocation. If this carbon positive, wherever carbon positive is there, that is carbocation. Now see this carbon positive does not attach to any other extra carbon. But here this carbocation attached to extra one carbon. That's why it is called primary. It is attached to two other carbon, secondary. It is attached to three other carbon, tertiary. But it is not attached to any carbon, this is simply called super primary. The carbocations can be super primary, primary, secondary, tertiary based on how many extra molecules are present. Now, in these carbocations, when we are identifying this stability, now I explain hyperconjugation. Stability of carbocations explained by hyperconjugation. Here positive charge is there. The 3 hydrogens can convert it to double bond. These 3 hydrogens can convert it to pi bond. These 3 hydrogens can convert it to pi bond. So there are total 9 hyperconjugated structure. Here 6 structure. Here 3 structure. Here no structure. So more the hyperconjugation, more the stability. So the stability of carbocations, tertiary is more stable, primary or superprimary is less stable. This is the stability most important. Carbocation stability, primary, secondary, tertiary. Tertiary is the most stable carbocation. Now see this. Suppose in place of this alkyl group, I place benzene. So we know that benzene will show resonance. So whenever it is showing resonance, resonance is more stable than the hyperconjugation. Order I have given. Highest is aromatic, after that resonance, after that hyperconjugation. So when compared with alkyl group, benzene group increases more stability than the alkyl group. That's why wherever benzenes are present, stability more increases. If like it is present. So this is a aromatic carbocation. This is aromatic nature we have seen. So aromatics are more stable than the even resonance. So stability of carbocations we have to check. First aromatic, after that resonance, after that hyperconjugation. So based on this stability we can identify. So wherever benzenes are there, stability will be increases. The final one will be giving stability of the tertiary phenyl greater than tertiary allyl greater than secondary phenyl greater than secondary allyl greater than tertiary alkyl greater than primary phenyl greater than primary allyl greater than secondary alkyl greater than primary alkyl. So this is the stability of carbocation. Phenyl means benzene ring. Remember, phenyl means benzene. When benzenes are three rings are there, here also benzene, here also benzene, and that is called tertiary phenyl. So allyl is also show resonance. Allyl means double bond. If it is attached to double bond can be shifted to here by resonance. That is also stability. So three double bonds are there, tertiary allyl. After that, secondary phenyl. That means two benzene rings, two double bonds. After that, tertiary alkyl. Tertiary phenyl, tertiary allyl, secondary phenyl, secondary allyl. Next one is the tertiary alkyl. After that, primary phenyl. Three alkyls are more stable than one benzene ring. Remember it. Thus, the tertiary alkyl will come before the primary phenyl and primary allyl. After that, secondary alkyl, primary alkyl. So this is the stability of carbocations. Like that, carbanions, carbon free radicals also there. The stability also we have to remember the order. So order I will send in the group. So practice the order. So this is about reactive intermediate. Same like carbanions. Carbanions are carbon negative charge. When carbon negative charge is there, the stability will be opposite. So because when charge is negative, see this. Here suppose negative charge is there. So here hyperconjugation does not possible. See this. If you are breaking this bond, H plus carbon minus, minus will repel each other. That means this is the less stable. But here hyperconjugation is not possible. So this is the more stable. So in carbanions, stability of carbanions is opposite to stability of carbocations due to negative charge. So stability order I will send in group. We have to practice that stability order. This is about reactive intermediates, carbocations, carbanions, carbon free radicals. Or explain carbenes. Carbenes are carbon divalent groups. Carbon divalent. So carbon valence is actually 4, but whenever it is only contains 2 bonds, then that is called carbene. Example, CH2 is called carbene. CCl2 is called carbenes. Whenever carbon has 2 bonds and 1 lone pair, that is called carbene. So carbenes are reactive intermediates. So these intermediates you will study in the carbyl amine reaction. Also you will study in the Riemann-Tiemann reaction. So these 2 reactions are important in the amines chapter and in the alcohol chapter. So both reactions will come where we will study about carbenes. So carbenes means carbon divalent. Remember it. Wherever carbon has 2 bonds, that is called carbene. So carbenes will be studied in the carbyl and Riemann-Tiemann reaction. So how to form carbene? Mostly formed by chloroform and base. Wherever chloroform base are there is a possibility of carbene. Same like carbyl also chloroform base. Riemann-Tiemann reaction is also chloroform and base used. That's why they will involve in the carbene. So base K plus OH minus, K plus removes Cl. KCl will form, OH removes hydrogen. H2O will form, Cl and H is gone. Remaining is CCl2 lone pairs. That is called carbene. So carbene is formed by base and chloroform. That is the best. So these are the reactive intermediates. So practice these intermediates. So the next actually some